webinar is titled the UOnline Experience. The purpose of the webinar tonight, or this evening I should say, is to give everyone an idea of what it is like to be a University of Miami online student. Everyone, you are in for a great treat tonight. We actually have a recent graduate on the call. His name is Stephen Bashore. My name is Jonathan Burton. I will be your moderator for the evening. And also we have an enrollment advisor which will provide her expert voice on the admissions process. Her name is Chelsea Harris. And what we'll do now is we'll take a second to go around the panel to have everyone introduce themselves. So Stephen, you want to go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Hi, my name is Steve Bayshore. I am from Miami, Oklahoma. Yeah, that's strange enough, but I did my undergraduate degree at Oklahoma State University in political science, which I graduated in 1994. And strangely enough, this is my second master's. I received my first master's in higher ed administration at the University of Central Oklahoma in 1998. So when I saw that the University of Miami had the option, or the actual program in sport administration, it was something I've always liked and something I was able to pursue, and I did not hesitate when I joined to sign up for the program.
Perfect. Thank you for joining us. And Chelsea, you want to introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, I'm Chelsea Harris. As Jonathan said, I am an enrollment advisor here, so enroll for pretty much all of the programs, and I'm looking forward to providing you with the information you need to potentially become a Canaan.
Fantastic. Welcome again, everyone. My name is Jonathan Burton. I am your moderator for the evening. For those of you joining us who were not familiar with the University of Miami, we are a top-tier university. We are one of the top 50 schools across the U.S. We are located in Coral Gables, Florida. The university offers quite a bit of programs. The university does house 11 schools and colleges offering over 100 bachelor's degree programs, also over 100 master's degree programs, over 50 doctoral programs, and our newly founded, component being online, offering quite a bit of programs ranging from an MBA, Master's in Public Administration, a Master's in Professional Accounting, Master's in Health Informatics, a Master's in Nursing Informatics, Master's in Finance, Master's in Communication, and such as Mr. Bashore, a Master's in Sport Administration. We also offer 3 graduate certificate programs: a certificate in accounting, a certificate in finance, and a certificate in health informatics. So as we dive right into the webinar here, I'm just going to ask Mr. Bashore a couple of questions to give everyone an idea of what it is like, based on his experience, to be an online student here at the University of Miami. So Stephen, to get started, can you tell us why you chose an online program as opposed to an on-campus program?
First of all, when I saw that the University of Miami had a program that I was interested in, and I knew the distance learning, it was something very, very new to me. I'd never done that. I'd always been brick and mortar. But after speaking with the enrollment advisors at the University of Miami, I was a little hesitant at first. But after speaking to the advisors, I felt very comfortable that I could continue, I could move forward, especially having a 40-hour plus, usually 60-hour plus weekend job, which nights, weekends, and holidays are our busy times. I just felt like it may be tough, but the advisement assured me if I put the effort into it, I would have the support. So I really didn't balk after that.
Okay, perfect. And what led you to this decision? What motivated you to start?
I've been in the casino industry for 12 years. Prior to that, I was a commissioner for the Oklahoma Professional Boxing Commission, so I've always had a love of sport. And the University of Miami being a top-tiered academic institution along with their great athletic programs, I thought that putting the two together and being able to be a part of that was a win-win.
Okay, perfect. So I just want to expand a little bit on what Stephen said. Our advising team is here to ensure everyone has a very good perception and an idea of what the program will entail. Like Stephen said, having over a 60-hour work week can be pretty taxing on your schedule. However, the way the program is designed is that you'll take one class at a time until you reach the completion of your program. So although it's still a pretty rigorous program, we do make it flexible in the fact that it's one class at a time. So Stephen, you selected the Masters in Sport Administration program. Can you give us any highlights, what you liked about it the most?
The interaction with my other classmates, I think 11 of us were the inaugural class. We actually finished. We still stay in contact, and the professors are very knowledgeable, very open. They will contact you or you will contact them on your time. They will actually make time for you. It's the best way to put it is the experience I had at the University of Miami online was a better experience than my time with my undergraduate and my previous graduate degree. That's being brutally honest.
Wow, that's pretty impressive to say. So as you stand right now, you completed your degree program. Do you find that your career is in a better state, would you say, today prior to completing the actual program?
I do, because some of the classes, even though it's in sport administration and I'm in the casino industry, a lot of our events are based around boxing. We're 3 hours from the Kansas City Chiefs. We're a few hours from the Kansas Motor Speedway. So we utilize those sport venues for our players. So anything they like to do within the sport, and being here at the casino, we do transport them to other, and Oklahoma State University football, wrestling. So aside from that, the sport ethics, ethics applies across the board, leadership applies across the board, finance applies across the board, and sports sponsorship basically applies across the board, as well as marketing. So I've been able to incorporate many, many facets from those classes into my current position now.
Okay, great. Now, let me ask you another question. Did you have any preconceived notions about online learning that you found not to be correct, or maybe changed your thought or idea about it coming into this program?
I did. When I first saw distant learning, my first thought was, that's distant learning. How am I going to be able to connect? How am I going to be able to communicate with the professors? How are they going to know me? Well, when you utilize webcams and the internet and telephone, believe it or not, it's text messaging, even through social media, they are very accessible.
Okay, fantastic. And one of the points you just mentioned is how you were able to navigate and apply different aspects of the things that you've learned through the program. Can you expand on that? As you were going through your program, did you take anything away from a particular class that you thought, hey, maybe tomorrow in my workday I can apply this right away?
Definitely. One of the projects we had in our finance class was giving an entity where you need to build a new stadium. Well, you have other facets involved, other things, whether it be city utilities, property. So we are a large entertainment venue here, and actually looking to expand. So I was able to take some of those and actually incorporate how is the ROI, the return on investment, going to be profitable? How's that going to be profitable for us? And so I was able to take some of those and apply that to where we're actually moving forward and actually moving to expand currently just on the entertainment side. And of course the leadership, always with 300 employees and about 25 different managers, being a leader and applying some of the things and skills through that, plus incorporating the ethics side of it, has really made a difference from my current employment.
That's really good to hear. Now, in terms of career advancements, have you been able to make any connections or networking in any way through this program that you could share with us?
I have. Strangely enough, the first class that I had, we had different videos we had to watch and write on. There was an individual that is now at the University of Arkansas, Fayetteville, which is about 2.5 hours from me, Chris Freet, who was actually, I believe he was in the athletic department at the University of Miami at one time before he moved on to Arkansas, and was able to connect to him via email and said, hey, if you're ever in our area, look me up and come to an Arkansas basketball game. Also, one of the individuals that teaches on the on-campus program actually is involved in casinos in the Miami and Naples area, so I've been able to connect with him, and this is just through my instructors have been able to put me in contact, and that's just a few. And of course, with all the connections through the actual professors and moving forward with them and the people they know has put me in a good position to network with different people throughout the industry.
Oh, fantastic. So as we transition just a little bit to piggyback on what Steve just shared with us, I'm going to hand it over to Charles just for a quick moment here, so she can tell us a little bit about the Alumni Network that our students join as soon as they become a student here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Stephen, it's great to hear, all the fantastic connections you've made, because that's really what it's all about, the networking piece of it. For those of you attending the webinar, I strongly encourage you to even take a look at part of our website, which is hireacane.com. It's a wonderful networking tool that we use to kind of help connect our students and alum with employers. If you don't have a LinkedIn, definitely consider creating one, because the sky is the limit once you do, especially once you're a part of the Alumni Network, because employers sometimes specifically look for University of Miami graduates. So with our Alumni Network, it's national, global, so no matter where you are, there's always a network somewhere near you to where you can meet those that are a part of the UM family. We currently have over 177,000 members, so that just gives you an idea of how many people you can really connect with and really just learn from if you're looking for a career change or career advancement. There are so many people on many different career levels that could help you grow in what you're looking to do. So definitely, again, check out hireacane.com. Even if you go to the UM website, there's a specific link for alumni. You don't have to be an alum yet to go to that page, so you can just go right to our general page, click on that link, and you can see all of the wonderful networking tools, events, so then that way once you are a part of the Alumni Network, you can join. It's really great because you can even join the network after completing your first class. So you don't have to wait until after you graduate in commencement. You can really join in right away and take advantage of all that there is for you. So once you do graduate, all you have to do is just keep those connections and really branch out to really benefit from that particular network.
Hey, thank you so much for that information, Charles. And Steve, I actually just want to get back to you really quickly, because leading on to the call, you were telling me about your experience with the alumni. From what I understand, actually, can you just tell us a little bit how you felt like you were a part of the family, although you were a distant learner?
I was able to come back for commencement in May, and leading up to commencement, actually there was a good group of us. I would say over half of us in the program were able to attend. It was so refreshing just to meet them face to face, because we all had talked back and forth. We'd all send each other videos through the class, and just to put it was just almost like a homecoming, if you will. And actually meeting the professors face to face was so nice, and just being a part, just walking on campus. If you've never been there, it's so diverse. It's just incredible. It's beautiful. It's an oasis. The people will go out of their way to be friendly to you. I went back last month. I'm ready to go back today. I'm 7 years old, and I'm just waiting to go back to campus, and that's how excited I am about it. My daughter, who is 20 years old, looking at law school, I am bringing her in March to look at the law school. So we're going to keep a legacy program going, I hope. So just the people are what make the University of Miami. It's not the location's great, but the people, the actual people, are what make the university great. Just like you, Jonathan. I first met you in May, right before commencement. You and Pamela Cruz, who was my advisor. I just walked in and, hey, here's your cap and gown. Glad to see you. You need anything? Is there anything I can do for you? And I appreciate that. And you'd never met me in person before, but it's just the people aspect of it and making you feel like you are part of the family. And one thing I continually hear, that the University of Miami is not a nation. Nations fall. Families remain strong. And the University of Miami really pushes that. So I'm proud to say, and I'm just proud to be a part of it.
Wow, that's really good to hear. And just to piggyback on that, for everyone on the call today, I just want to let you know that that's our goal here, is to ensure that everyone becomes a part of this family. And as Chelsea said, once you complete your first class, you are a part of the University of Miami Alumni Network, and you can go to that website and register and be a part of that core. And aside from that, to add to what Stephen said, we want to make the process as seamless as possible. So we're going to take you through from start to finish, from myself being a senior advisor, to Chelsea also being an advisor, and to Pamela Cruz being an academic advisor. We're going to make sure that you are well taken care of. The most important thing here is that, well, obviously you receive a top-notch education, but there's no red tape involved in this. If it's something as simple as a phone call, we are here for you. So always feel comfortable picking up the phone, giving us a call, and asking that question, and finding a solution to your problem. So we're going to continue on. We just touched on, what it's like to be a part of the Alumni Network here. So now, Steve, I understand you've had quite a bit of experience with the faculty. Can you share with us what your experience was, where the faculty came from, and how they were able to shape your newly found knowledge through your program?
One thing about the faculty is they're so diverse, and they come from different backgrounds, but yet they come together for one common bond. And was able to go back last month and, as a graduate, speak to an undergraduate class on how sport and gaming interact with each other. It was great just to be back on campus and be invited to, but one of the professors and the actual program director, Dr. Warren Wisnat, he's the class that I spoke to, and then Dr. Ty Martin, who teaches the organizational side, came in to witness also. And just, they brought me in, took me to lunch, ended up going to the Miami UNC football game with them, went to their tailgate, and just got to experience the faculty and the students side on campus and off campus. So I got to experience both sides of it. And they're the same as they are on campus as they are off campus. It doesn't matter. Once you're there, you're part of the family. You'll always be part of the family. And I still connect. Even Dr. Martin today, and now that I'm a graduate, I have to quit calling him doctor. That's tough to do. That's tough to do. I can't do that. I'm working on it. We even talk about football game, Oklahoma State or Miami, or the games coming up this weekend with Pitt, and so the relationship I built with them, they're not only professors, they're friends, and I consider them friends, and they treat me just the same. I mean, Dr. Martin even picked me up, and we went out to eat the night I got into town last month, and picked me up, took me to the football game. I mean, that's unheard of. He didn't have to do that. Took me to the airport, and you just build a great bond with the faculty. Again, it's nothing like I experienced in my undergraduate or my prior degree being on campus, which were not bad experiences, don't get me wrong. It's just the University of Miami, I don't want to sound like a broken record or pre-planned.
To another level.
It is. I mean, when they say it's all about you, I mean, hey, I'm the only guy in Miami, Oklahoma walking around with Hurricanes gear on every day. You just want to be a part of it. And
That's what we want.
It's a great feeling.
What we want. Just to add to that, Chelsea and I had the opportunity to meet with Dr. Martin a couple of weeks ago, and he did tell us that particularly in the sport admin program, that they are a really big family, and they treat it as such. If they're going to tailgate, they tailgate together. If they're going to party, they party together. And if they're going to learn and they're going to be in a program together, they're going to do it together. So I did hear about that story about students coming to the tailgate, and so it's good to hear from the student's perspective.
Even current students, I got to meet some of the students that are going to graduate in December came by. That one of them was actually working for the Miami Marlins, and he stopped by, and I met him. It's just great to be a part of, and just to meet new and different people.
That's fantastic. Can you tell us what your favorite class was and why?
Oh gosh, probably Dr. Sue Mullane, who teaches ethics and leadership. I like to call her Dr. APA. I mean, you propose your papers, you better have it down, and she'll lead you down the right road. But I was able to apply, in the marketing classes and the finance and the organizational. if I had to pick one, that's tough because I really enjoyed it. When I finished the program, I was actually depressed. Like, what am I going to do now? What am I going to do?
Really good. That's really good. It's good to hear it from the student perspective.
The leadership and the ethics, they were with Dr. Mullane. She's top notch, and you know she's every time when I see her, I've been in had lunch with her a couple of times, and it's just a hug, you know, and then the others too are Professor Jessup, and Dr. Dees, Dr. Wisnat, Dr. Martin. I mean, you pretty much you get to know them on a first name basis. But I'm just one of those old school people that if they earn their doctor, they're going to be called doctor. So they're all just, I can't say enough about them. I mean, they're like family, and it's literally.
That's quite all right. Now, I will say this: sport administration is one of the most popular programs that we offer online, and I'm glad to hear that you had a really good experience in your program. But I will say this: the other programs, every program director is going to brag that their program is the best. So if you're on the call and you're not going to be in sport administration, don't worry. Your program director is just as engaged and will treat you just the same and will brag about you and his or her program that it is a top-notch program, and rest assured it really and truly is. So thank you so much for sharing that experience with us, Steve.
Hey, Jonathan, too, I was able to meet some of the MBA students at graduation, some of the finance students, and we're all in the same, working towards the same goal. And it was just great to meet them too. We're not separate just because we're in this program or you're in that program. We were all one family. We were all there together. The only thing we did, we had to sit different because they called different colleges at the same time. But hey, we were all there for one common goal.
Right. Hey, that's good to know. As a matter of fact, every student has the opportunity to join us here in Coral Gables for the graduation, and I highly encourage you, even if you do not start with the University of Miami, please attend your graduation and meet your classmates and build another relationship with students from your program or your school. Now, Steve, collaborative learning. It's a big component in online learning. It's far different than what undergrad students experience, where they simply sit in a class, be lectured to, and then submit an assignment and go from there. In an online environment, you're going to learn from your classmates. So can you tell us a little bit about any group assignments or projects, or how you interacted with your classmates?
Interacting with the classmates was it was a great experience as well. As we had one of the ones was a pro football player, another was an attorney in Philadelphia, one was in Washington, a few students in Texas. All came from different backgrounds. All had the love of sport in our program, of course, but we all had different aspects of it. And me, I was the only person that had basically the boxing and mixed martial arts. So I was able to apply some of that. We had some that played pro basketball, and a women's pro league basketball, and some were coaches. One was a swim coach. And so we all had that one common thing of sport, and we all have a love of sport. So it made it easy for us to work together. And you never know what assignment you were going to get. But learning from each one had a different perspective, and from doing it online, you're able to think about it before you actually just put it out there. You're able to actually think about what you have to do. You're able to do the research. You're able to put it down, and it's very easy to communicate that way rather than just sitting in a classroom, raise your hand, yeah, I have the answer to that. That's fine. But online, you're able to learn from everybody. Everybody has to post. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has something great to offer. And every week, you always saw a different perspective, and were able to apply it. And like, yeah, okay, yeah, because you're required to respond. You're required to do it through opinion plus research. So it makes you sit back and think, okay, I didn't think of it that way. Or, yeah, you have a good point. I want to incorporate yours to mine. And then when you're put together in a group on a group project, hey, it all comes together.
Wow, that's really good to hear. How do you feel about how you interacted with your professors in this case? Because typically online, your professor is more an enabler and kind of wants to put a subject out there and invoke thought and pull the information out of you. So how do you think your professors challenged you?
Very well. It wasn't, a lot of times just wasn't general information. It was they would give you a broad scenario, and it made you think. It made you research. It made you work with other people. And if you had one, that's what I put it, if you had one thought going in on something, like say your rule on NCAA transfers or people or players being paid, let's say that NCAA, like the Northwestern lawsuit. What's your opinion on that? Well, yeah, anyone can say, well, I think, yeah, they should be paid. Okay, why? Why do you think they should, or why do you think they should not? You will learn from your other from your peers on different levels. Of course, some think they should, some think they shouldn't. And, you know, you're able to apply not just basketball or football. You can, it's endless. So you really pick up a lot of things from your peers, and then your professors will lead you down that right direction, saying, well, I see what your point is, but how about this side? And that happened to me a lot, which was good. I mean, especially in the globalization and, or more specifically, the legal aspects, because I'm not an attorney. Luckily, Professor Jessup is, and you would always have, well, you have to think about it this way, you have to think about it this way, and always thought-provoking.
Very good. So I just want to add to that, and Ms. Harris can expand on this if she wants to. To what Stephen said, it's the fact that you can learn from everyone in an online environment, particularly here at the University of Miami. This is the way the program is designed. And our job as advisors is to ensure that your class is filled with a class of your peers. So one of the things we look through or look at throughout our application process is to take a look at your experience, not so much your academic experience, but what is your professional background and how you can impart that knowledge to one of your classmates. So that's one of the things we look at quite a bit going through our application process. So thank you so much, Stephen, for sharing that with us. Now, one of the big things that we never get to hear about, but what are the challenges? I mean, it's online, so there has this distance learning, so there had to have been a point where you felt, this was a stumbling block. Can you share that with us?
It's self-discipline. It teaches you self-discipline, most definitely. And like I said, I was apprehensive when I first inquired about this. When I sent the email, I had a phone call from one of the online advisors probably within an hour and a half, talked me through it. So I listed my concerns. All right, well, I have nights, weekends, and holidays job. Am I going to be able to pull this off? I have 2 children.
Right.
How am I going to be able to do this? How am I going to interact? I've been out of school since I'm 47 years old. 1998, I had my master's degree. That's a long time ago. Thinking about coming in, and the advisors actually are the ones that said, okay, I understand your concerns. You want to think about it, that's fine. Actually, believe it or not, I called the advisor and said, hey, I'm out, I can't do it. Well, okay. Once you think, okay, just do me a favor. I said, all right, no problem. What do you think? Think about it for the night, call me back tomorrow. I said, yeah, okay, I'll do that. Thought about it, like, I'm in. Something I want to do, the program, I get to be a part of the University of Miami. He knew what he was doing. I mean, it was great. It was great, and I needed that. I haven't been in school for so long, and being able to just the encouragement and the being there. Anytime I needed something, I could always call, or even if I was in town, which has only been a few times, I was able to pop in and meet everybody. It's the support you need is really there, and the challenge, honestly, is just getting started. Once you get started, it rolls from there. You just look forward to it each week. Each week you have something coming up, and you know what your assignments are. So you're able to prepare. You can read some of the chapters on your lunch break. You can read it at night or read it in the morning. And there's always times, you always have time to go to get something to eat, right? You always have time to go do something, that walk around. You can spend that time learning. Why not? Rather than just doing something you normally do and really not getting it out of it. Put that use of time to something like this, something you're going to be proud of, something you're going to be able to accomplish. That was the biggest challenge for me, was just getting started.
Good advice. There's a saying here, actually, we always tell our students, the first class is the biggest hurdle.
Oh,
Get
scary.
through the first class, and it's downhill from there.
Yeah, honestly, it was scary. Dr. Martin, my first class, I went all in. I did all this research. And he said, you know, you did a great job. I appreciate you. What did you put in there? But what's your opinion? What's your perspective? I want to hear from you. I'm like, okay. Maybe think. Maybe think.
And that's true. To add to what Stephen just said, on average, just so everyone is aware, we normally encourage students to set aside roughly 20 to 25 hours per week to devote that time to their studies. That time may vary depending on the class and the program, but on average, you can anticipate that's the amount of time it will take. But that's good to know, though. So self-discipline, you have to budget your time wisely. You have to start to, you know, instead of, like Stephen said, taking that lunch break to go for a walk, spend that time in your books and be prepared for the upcoming class. Perfect. Hey, thank you so much, Stephen, for sharing. And at this time, what I'm going to do, we have a pretty good session here where Ms. Harris is going to take us through one of our classes. So I'm going to switch the webinar over to her for just a moment, and then she will take us into an actual live class and show us what it's like.
I'm having flashbacks. I can see it now right here.
All right. All right. So, are you guys able to see my screen?
Perfectly.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, so as Jonathan stated, just going to take you through a classroom walkthrough. Not going to cover every single thing, only because, of course, it can take a while. But the great thing is you really get to see what your classroom will look like. The wonderful thing is you will get to see, you'll actually get to see the announcements here, as well as you have access to your classroom 4 days prior to classes starting. So it's really great because you can, for one, test it out. So we strongly encourage you to test it out. So that way if there's any technical difficulties, we can troubleshoot it. It's very rare, but of course technology is not perfect. But we definitely make sure that everything is up and running prior to that day. So when you're able to access it, you can see your classroom. So as you can see here on this very first page, we have our announcements. These are extremely important because your professor will list any particular important announcements for the classroom so that you see what's going on for that particular week. I'm actually looking at the classroom from this previous session, so as you see, it's about week 5. So definitely make sure that you always check that information. Also, you'll see on the left where it has your faculty bio, your syllabus. So again, you can pull up your professor. Here would be Dr. Taiwan Martin, as Stephen had mentioned. He's a wonderful, dedicated professor. This is his passion. So if you are fortunate enough to have him as your professor, make sure that you get the most out of his class as possible. You will not be disappointed with learning from him. He is, again, extremely, extremely dedicated, and he fully dedicates himself to his students. The great thing about the portal and about Blackboard is you can preview your weeks. So as you see to the left, you have week 1 all the way through week 7. We don't encourage you to post anything a week in advance. If you do, of course, make sure you get that approval from your professor. But over here, you see the different things that you'll access throughout your classroom. So, for example, week 1, we have a video here from Dr. Martin. Of course, I won't play it right now, but any videos, make sure you click on them and listen to them. Of course, this is an intro from him. And then you also get to see like your course outcomes for the week, your learning activities. Make sure you go through everything. You will have discussions. The wonderful thing is you don't have to exactly scroll all the way down. At the top, we have a jump to section where you can go to the different parts. As you can see here, there's discussion 1, 2, week 1, quiz, journal assignment. Everything that's assigned, of course, must be completed. The discussions, especially as Stephen had touched on with the professor he mentioned as Professor APA. APA is extremely important, especially in your discussions and assignments. We cannot emphasize that enough. Of course, if you've been out of school for a while, APA format might look like another language to you, but there's so many resources out there. we encourage you to actually purchase a APA book. They're very inexpensive, and they'll help you throughout your college career. That way you can be successful, you're contributing to your learning experience, and you're getting the most out of it. The great thing, as Stephen was talking about collaborative learning, this is what the discussions really help you do, because you interact with your classmates as well as you interact with your professor. Your professor will respond to you. They'll ask you to expound upon your discussion if they feel like you can maybe add more, or, you know, they definitely really interact with you. So it's something that a lot of people have a concern about with online learning, that maybe they don't get to have that interaction with the classroom or their professor, but you really do get to have that in this particular environment. Sometimes with a classroom, everybody's rushing in. You sit down, you take out your laptop, you take your notes, listen to your lecture, and then everybody's gone. Everybody has careers or families at home, so they don't really have time to interact outside of what exactly is happening in that allotted time frame from your class. At least with the online learning and distance learning, you're not as restricted time-wise. Of course, you will have your deadlines and due dates, but you're not restricted as far as how you interact with your classmates. Again, to kind of build on what Stephen said, you know, he built relationships with his classmates. So when at graduation, they knew who they were from video assignments they maybe had and interacting in the classroom. So it's not like you have a room full of strangers and you're not just a person behind the computer. You really are a part of the classroom experience as well as the family. So definitely, if you become a student with us, absolutely take advantage of logging into your class that 4-day week, that 4 days prior, so that way you can really acclimate yourself with what the classroom is and how it looks, so then that way you can be as successful as possible in your classroom. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and switch it back to Jonathan so we can continue.
Thank you, Chelsea.
Sure.
And as Chelsea said, everyone here will receive access to their classes 4 days in advance once you start. And Stephen had that experience as well. We always encourage everyone to use that time. Use that time to get a jump start on your readings, get a jump start on your homework, specifically in that first class, because you want to hit the ground running. You know, as we said, that first class is going to be your biggest hurdle. So if you use that time wisely to get a jump start on everything, you should be pretty successful going through that first class. And that's just, you know, this was only a brief tutorial, like just a brief walkthrough of the classroom experience. Your advisor will take you in a little bit more and get you more ready for your class. By the time classes actually start, you won't be fumbling through the navigations. You'll be a seasoned expert by the time classes start, so don't worry about that. So that was the classroom demonstration. Sport administration. It's one of the most popular programs that we offer here, and Chelsea's just going to tell us a little bit, give us a little bit more specifics about the sport administration program.
Absolutely. So I'm actually glad that Stephen mentioned that it seemed like a business degree with a sport admin focus, because that's really what it is. You are learning the business of the sport administration world. So you really get to experience a lot within the program as far as marketing, ethics, just a couple of the actual courses that Stephen mentioned, and I'm glad to hear you had a few that were your favorites, because, you know, we never want our students to feel like, oh, I took this one class and it was dreadful. So we normally we normally hear from our students that, you know, they really appreciate the courses because it really teaches you that business aspect. Most people that come to this program, they have those aspirations of getting into that admin field and the business side of it, and that's where these courses will take you. As it shows, it's a 20-month program, so under 2 years. It's actually a shorter program than a lot of other universities offer as far as on the master's level, and it's 30 credits. So you're not having to spend that full 2 years. It's the 20 months, which is really great because that can help you plan as far as what your next steps are with your career. Again, it definitely is like having a business degree in sports, so you really learn that background to kind of catapult your career. And Steven has been able to apply it to his career, so you certainly get as much out of it what you put into it.
Thanks, Chelsea. That's what graduate school is a lot of students coming into grad school, they're mid-career professionals, so we want to give them the tools that they'll need to take their career to the next level. In Stephen's case, he had already been to grad school and found another love that that could help him advance his career in the casino gaming industry. So that's what it is. Another program we want to highlight is the MBA program, very popular in conjunction with the Sport Administration program. As you can see here, we chose this program because ideally this is where most of our questions and our interest lies. Our MBA program is roughly 26 months. It is a 42 credit degree program, 13 courses, and you take one course at a time until you complete the program. Now, although it's one course at a time, I want to emphasize the fact that it's one course at a time, and I don't want students to get the wrong idea that, hey, this is going to be pretty easy. It's not, and Stephen can attest to this. Again, particularly in the MBA in the first course, we want students to be aware, hey, you need to set aside a good bit of time to devote that time to your studies because it's going to be pretty demanding. Although it's 7 weeks and it isn't in an online class and it's one class at a time, essentially what we've done is taken a full-length course and condensed it down enough to make it available online. So be prepared, prepare yourself for the rigors of this program, and like Stephen said, utilize your resources, your academic advisor, your enrollment advisor, your professor, your classmates, your office hours. That is right. It's an online class, but it does have office hours. So attend those office hours and get as much as you can out of those professors.
One thing, too, I found, Jonathan, about the office hours, they'll work around it. You don't necessarily have to participate within those office hours. They will make time for you.
That is true. That is true. Your professors, I do know that. A simple phone call or an email, they'll make time for you. So thank you for adding that so much. Now, in terms of financial assistance for, obviously it's graduate school. We have to find a way to finance our education. There are several options available to the students. In some cases, our students would utilize veterans benefits. All you simply need to do is contact your enrollment advisor, let them know what type of benefit you'll be using, and they'll coordinate that method of payment for you. So if it's financial aid, like I said, veterans benefits, in some cases tuition assistance from your employer, or maybe you just want to finance your education on your own and you just need a simple structured payment plan. Just let your advisor know, and they'll coordinate that for you. At the end of the webinar, you'll receive all the communication that you need, such as contacting an enrollment advisor or even a link to start an application. But the financial component is usually not that difficult. You just let your advisor know what you need, and we'll make it happen for you. Now, application success. I'm just going to hand this off over to Chelsea, and she's going to tell us a little bit about what she likes to see in an application to make it a strong candidate for the program, or any program for that matter.
Thank you, Jonathan. So with an application, of course, we're taking a look at numerous things. We're taking a look at your GPA. We're taking a look at your resume and work experience, because we really want to see you holistically as a student, and then what you've done since you've graduated, or maybe you worked while you were in undergrad. We consider everything. We also take a look at your personal statement. It doesn't have to be a full autobiography about yourself, but we do like for you to put yourself on paper. We want to know who you are. To us, you're not just another enrollment. You're not just another tuition. You actually are somebody who we're letting into the UM family. And we want to be sure that this is something that you really want and something that you really have a goal and a mindset for. So your personal statement, we really look for you, like I said, on paper. Also, we look for 2 letters of recommendation. They can either be more like the business side, or they can be academic. Of course, we ask for no personal, so as much as your mom loves you and thinks you're awesome, unfortunately, we can't take that recommendation. So just definitely, any employers, Of course, we do encourage you to pick maybe employers that are available to do the recommendation. Just like you might be busy throughout your day, some employers may not have the time to sit and write a paragraph or two. So, you know, as great as it sounds to get the CEO of your company or the CFO of your company, realistically, they may not always be available, especially with deadlines that we have. So pick somebody who can really speak to you as a person and that really can dedicate that time, because in the end, that recommendation is what helps you get into the program. Again, we look at your GPA. That has a lot to do with your transcripts. So we do ask for your unofficials at first. That can be kind of easy to get. Of course, official transcripts have to be sent to us directly either through mail or through our electronic transcripts email address, which that would be provided to you once you start applying. And again, we just look for you to, of course, completely fill out the online application, so academic history, information about you. And then what we do is we take everything and compile it together in your file and really take a look at you as a prospective student. And then what we do is we say, how can this person add value to the program? What are they going to get out of the program? And really, if we're the right program. Again, you're not just another enrollment, so there are times when maybe our programs are not what you're looking for, and that's okay. We're not here to push you. We're not like used car salesmen or just trying to, you know, get you in to get your money. No, we really want you to get the most out of this program and not come with the stigma of we just want your money and that's it. So definitely, you know, take advantage of the relationship you build with your enrollment advisor, because they're the ones who really help you literally from your application until you become a student. And even then, we still hold a relationship with our students that we get in, because we want to see you be successful. We want to see you at graduation and give you a hug and congratulate you. So, you know, or a handshake, whichever works for you. So, so definitely take that advantage. And again, our application is free. So there's no financial commitment to starting an application. If we start the application process and you say, hey, Charles C., hey, Jonathan, this may not be the right time for me, we counsel those concerns. As Stephen said, he got to a point where he was like, nope, can't do it, won't do it, count me out. But we are here to counsel your concerns. And, you know, it can be anything from the time management to the financial aid. And we do this through the application process. We don't just wait until you're a student. We do this while you're applying so that you know exactly what you're getting into. So definitely take advantage of that response or that relationship you build with your enrollment advisor.
Hey, thank you so much, Charles. Yeah, I just want to take a second to tell everyone we're going to get to your questions. I do have quite a bit of questions coming in. Now, Stephen, study tips. We're getting to the end of our call here. What tips could you offer prospective students who will likely start an online program for the first time?
Again, I'll go back to getting started and read, like Charles C. said, the announcements. Those will lead you in the right direction, which way to go. Once you get into it, it'll flow. I can promise you it'll flow. Coming from somebody like me who was very apprehensive and going back to school after being out for so many years, once you get into the flow of it and you just basically push yourself to do it, just like anything else. It's like, I got to get up and go to work today. Well, you do it. Get up and do it. You will get something, you will get a benefit out of it, and you'll have your self-worth, your confidence will soar, and it just, being a part of something like this program, it pushes you to be a better student, to get involved and to interact with your peers, and they on the other side are doing the same thing. So you all have reach this common goal, and you have a bond with each other where you want everybody to succeed, and it just flows from there. Sounds silly, but I know I'm not just making this up. I'm speaking from direct experience.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. So there you go, getting started and putting your mind to it. Now, let's see here. And we're going to get to your questions, everyone. I just want to let you know we're going to get to those questions. Now, here we go. Question time. So, Chelsea, it's quite a bit of questions. So I'll just send you a couple of them here. The first question I had was, are my lectures live?
No, so the great thing is your lectures are not live. So again, that comes into a lot of our students are worried about the time management aspect. So the great thing is you don't have to worry about being logged in on a Tuesday at 3 o'clock. It's definitely a self-managed type of environment. Of course, like I said before, you have your deadlines, you have your assignments. But if you work a job where you work overnight and maybe can't log in during the day, but you can maybe have some time during work, you can do that. If you work during the day but have time in the evening after the kids are asleep and after everybody's fed and, you have that opportunity. So you never have to worry about logging in on a specific day at a specific time.
Okay. One MBA prospective student says, will my experience waive the GMAT?
So we have to take a look at your work experience as well as your GPA in order to make that determination. So definitely feel free to give us a call, and we can certainly go over that information specifically with you so that we know exactly where you would particularly stand. But yes, work experience is something that is a factor.
Okay. And one accounting student says, can I choose my classes?
So we actually have a lockstep format program. We have particular course sequencing, so you're not able to actually choose your courses. There's no electives or anything of that nature. So we definitely will go over your course with you. If you go to miami.edu/online and go to the particular program of your choice, you can pull up the courses there to see what specifically are the courses you'll be taking to see if what we offer is what exactly you're looking for.
Okay. And an MBA student says, can I take time off once I get started?
So we don't advise it, mainly because the way the program is set up, you could take a break and then you come back and the next class you need is not available, so you might have to sit out. So we really say make sure you're able to fully commit to the program, make sure that you're able to really go straight through, because we really don't advise you to take time off. That's definitely something that you can explore with your academic advisor or even your enrollment advisor as you start the process. That way we can get a better idea of maybe how long you're looking to take off, because of course you're taking 2 classes a semester, but there's 2 sessions. So if you miss the next one, it could really throw you off for your time to completion. So we just want to make sure that you're as successful in the program as possible.
Okay, and we're going to try to get to everyone's questions. One more question for a graduate certificate program. Is financial aid available for graduate certificates?
Yes, so for the graduate certificate programs, you would be able to get financial aid.
Okay, fantastic. And just bear with me here, Chelsea.
Sure.
Do you assist with career advancement or career options?
So we try to point you in the right direction as much as we can to make sure that the degree you're applying for is a degree that will help you in the career path you're looking to take. Again, if you were to go to higheracane.com, a lot of great career information is there. So we don't do any career placement per se, but we do try to help point you in the right direction as much as possible. The Higher Acane is through our Topple Career Center, so that is definitely their wheelhouse to where they can really get you in touch with potential employers. It also can depend on what state you're in, the job market. So a lot of factors come into that, but we definitely try to provide you with as many resources as possible.
Okay. Are scholarships available?
So as of right now, for the January start date, we are offering scholarships for the different programs. Again, certainly feel free to reach out to an enrollment advisor for the specific scholarship for your program. That is based on you being admitted for the January timeframe only. We do not know what we're offering for future terms as of right now.
Here's a tough one, pretty program specific. Will we be able to waive for the BGS if we only have 21 credit hours?
So as of right now, we're not running the BGS program. I believe that's what the question is more for. So as of right now, we're not running the Bachelor's of General Studies program. We are only enrolling for the master's programs.
Okay, and what are class sizes like in the Master's of Finance program?
So it can range. Each class is divided into sections. So we try to keep the classes small and intimate just so that you can really have that relationship with your professor. As Stephen had pointed out earlier, he built that relationship with his professors because of the fact that he was able to really speak with them. Of course, it goes back to the office hours. And again, you're not just a person behind the computer to us. So we try to keep them minimal. It can be anywhere from 10 people in your classroom to 20. It depends really on the enrollment at that time, but also just based off of what the professors are looking to put into their classrooms. But you're never going to have like 50 or 60 people in one class. That's never going to happen.
All right. We're pretty much near the end of the webinar, so I just want to thank everyone for attending. There was one other question we weren't able to get to regarding sharing the link that Chelsea had mentioned, and I'm sure it's referring to the Alumni Network link. But nonetheless, what we will do at the end of this webinar, everyone will receive an email confirmation for attending. But aside from that, this webinar will also be posted on our website at www.miami.edu/online, where you can also find this webinar and any other link that you are seeking information about. So I just want to thank Chelsea for being with us and providing an expert voice on the admissions process, as well as Mr. Bashir for giving us his experience as a UOnline student. Mr. Bashir, before we go, do you have anything you want to say to everyone on the call?
I would encourage anyone, if you have the opportunity to become a part of the University of Miami family, please do so. You won't regret it. It's the best educational experience and beyond that I've had, and you will be able to incorporate what you learn, no matter what program you're in. You're going to be able to apply it to your current state. And me, where I'm at now in the casino industry, my main focus of getting into this was to branch out into a new field, which would be athletic administration. So taking what I learned in my current job, taking a degree, hopefully be able to work towards something else, and I'm on my way.
Perfect. How about you, Chelsea?
Again, just take advantage of the relationship that you build with your enrollment advisor from beginning to end. Certainly, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. And, once you're ready to start your application, we are more than happy to help you.
Fantastic. And it looks like we have one last question here. Okay. Before we end. It says, what resources are available after graduation? And I'll tackle that one. The first and biggest resource that's going to be available to you is your network. The Alumni Network is roughly 180,000 professionals strong. And I believe Stephen had mentioned earlier that he's roughly about an hour away from our Dallas network that he can tap into at any given point in time. Aside from that, we always encourage everyone to stay in contact with your professors and your classmates, as a number of things will occur at the university level. But aside from that, what's happening in their careers, throughout their lives, that potentially you could tap into as well. And that's a very big resource, and that's more than likely the biggest one that we pride ourselves on. But for more specific information, definitely feel free to pick up that phone and give an enrollment advisor a call, and we'll be able to expand a little bit more on that. So I just want to thank everyone again. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully that gives you some idea of what it's like to be a University of Miami online student, and hopefully we will see your application real soon. Thank you so much, everyone.
All about
Thank
you.
Go Canes.